Right, here we go. Oh, I can see a few people come on. Good evening all. Lee Ashby here, Motocross and Speedway Memories. Hope you're all good. Hello, whoever that is. Hope you're good. I've just literally, going to help you now, look. I've just been putting the link in for all the people on Facebook that are coming in through Facebook. It's just a privacy thing. You have to click on this link every time you come on the live. You can either come out of this video and click the blue link and then come back in. It should give you your privacy permission, or you can just click on the links I'm putting in there right now. Not sure who this is. I'm not sure who that is. But just click on these links, guys. You can see that I'm putting them in there in the comments, and it should come up then, like Chris Abbott, who wants to get back into a live wants to get back onto a live auction. Hello, Dee and Elizabeth Finlake. Hope you're doing well in Newton Abbot in your little what should we call it? What are we calling it? A little spa place? Cheeky little hot tub in the out the back there. Hello, James Monster Brown. How's it going? Not sure who that is. Yo, I'm not sure who that is. Click on this link, guys and girls. Go back up through the comments, and I'm just doing one more on my page, one for you guys. Or just come out of the live, click on the blue link in the post, and then come back into the video. And hopefully this will all work with this American legend, Mr. Seth Enslow, eh? I can see that's Darren Felton. So, and Mr. Frizzy HRC Highway. Hopefully you guys will click on. So hopefully you guys will click on the link. I can see you, Mr. Carlisle. How's it going, Wes? Super Evo, Mr. Super Evo Motocross. Even having a drink again, Wes, for the second time on a live. Even my mum would be like, "Hey, what's going on?" So hopefully you guys can click on the link. I've put another link in there off my Facebook page. So all you people on Facebook need to click on this link, unless your name shows up. So the only people that I've seen so far is my mum, who is in Newton Abbot. Hi, Mum. Chris, I can see. James, I can see. All the rest of you, I can't see. So I'm hoping you're going to click on the link so I can see who you are. I know. Mental, ain't I? When I don't mess around, mate. I have like at least a can and a half. And what's up for auction? I'm going to be doing another live auction soon. I've got lots of memorabilia of my own that I've got for competitions. But I thought instead of doing competitions, I'm going to do a live auction because we really enjoyed that the other night, doing that for the Bishops, for Stephen Bishop's son, Sam Bishop. And it was for an amazing cause. So hopefully I've spoke to a few of you guys and girls that enjoyed it, and everyone says that they would be looking forward to another one. Obviously, there's some good causes out there I can do, but I'm also going to do one basically for myself as well. Because I was going to do competitions on all this stuff, but I enjoyed the live auction so much, I thought, oh, maybe instead of doing some load of competitions over the next few months, I can do a live auction instead. It seems like everyone had fun. Hello. Not sure who that is, but hopefully they'll click on the link. Good evening, Tina. I can see you. That's how it should look. And then basically, like Wes there, then I'll be able to quote you. If you give me any questions for Seth, I can quote you on screen. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user or hi Lee, good evening. Is that from Denmark? DK, yo. So hopefully you guys will click on this link. Look, I've put a few of them in. If you scroll through the comments on Facebook, hopefully you'll see one of them links. Click on it and then come back on. You are now showing, Mr. Craig Han. Safe Swansea MX, the man. So I can see you now, Craig, and I'll be able to quote you on screen to your mate, Seth Enslow, isn't it? He's wore one of your t-shirts, wasn't it? Or was it a hoodie? With Safe Swansea MX on. So I'll have to quote that to him. I should have worn mine tonight, shouldn't I? You might see it going across the bottom of the screen there. Mr. Tim Chambers. I'm actually going to see him tomorrow. So Mr. Tim Chambers of Chambers Engineering. I'll get it right in a minute. But he does all the chamber racing, helps out so many guys in the motocross world, and he has for many, many years. What a legend he is. He also helps out in the Speedway world as well. And probably see him hopefully down at Oxford a couple of times this season. Come in. Who's this? Hello from California. Who is that? Hopefully that's another one. Just giving you guys and girls a last shout. You just need to go shovel up through the comments, find one of these links, click on that, and then I'll be able to see who you are. But someone's on from California. Oh, I can see John Larson. How's it going, my friend? He's on. Nancy Mercer, how's it going? Mr. Paul Hurry, how are you, my friend? Didn't you have a birthday recently? How are you, my friend? Hope to see lots of you as well at the... I'm actually going to the... what's it called? I've got a picture of it here somewhere. Who's going to the celebration of Speedway? There you go. Oh, I'll take your comment off, Paul. Don't know if you're going, are you, Paul? There you go. World Speedway Riders Association. I've been a member for the last 2 or 3 years, I think. But I've never been to the wildlife park there. Celebration of Speedway, 17th of March, all bikes and all sorts will be there, and people will be there, barbecue bar, 10 till 4 p.m. I'm intending to be there for that. Also, I'm going to be, anyone's going to be at the Eastbourne Eagles Supporters Club. I'm going to be there next weekend as well, taking my Popolina. We got invited to go down there, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to go down there. I think Barney Kennett, I think Barker, Mr. Dean Barker. I think there's quite a few. Eddie Kennett, I've heard, might be there as well. So I think there's going to be a good get-together for the Eastbourne fans. Who had a birthday recently then? Weren't you? Thought it was you, Mr. Hurry. Must have been someone else then. Hello, John. How's it going? Not sure who that is. Mark, I can see you, Mr. Prince, so thank you very much for coming on. Should be interesting. I've got some different questions for this man. Literally, certain questions just literally dinged into my head as we just were talking. Should ask him about if he's got any superstitions as well. He must have some. Jesus. Oh, yeah, sorry, my friend. That's what it is. You've had operations. Sorry, that's where I knew I'd seen something about you. Birthday? Birthday or operations? Close, wasn't it? Sorry, anyway. How are you? How are you, Mr. Hurry? Recovering okay? That's what I seen, see? I knew I'd seen something. Too much going on up here at the minute. T-shirt and Vesper, Seth's birthday recently, as it goes. Maybe it was Seth's birthday as well. No, I definitely saw Mr. Hurry. I'm pretty sure I wrote on there anyway, but I've seen a few of the guys having a few operations lately. I saw, that's another one I saw, Paul. Paul Hurry's probably seen it as well. John Davis, I think, had an operation on his ankle as well. That was another one I seen. Oh, Mr. Lawrence Hare, how are you, my friend? So he's going to be there. That'd be cool. Be good to see you again, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it? Have I not seen you since that Cardiff? Because that wasn't last year's Cardiff, was it? It was a Cardiff the year before. It's been a while, hasn't it? Time's flying by. Story of our lives, isn't it? But yeah, I'm going to go to that Speedway celebration, and hopefully, I was talking to Bert Harkins, hopefully going to get a plaque done for my dad. And because apparently they got a memories area there as well with like all Speedway riders that have obviously passed. So I'm hoping that I can sort that out as well for that day. So that would be good, wouldn't it? Don't forget, I got a Suzuki motocross bike competition, and we're only going to do 160 numbers. You can even have any numbers you want without paying up front and then pay when it's full. So I thought that'd help out quite a few people. Definitely worth having a go though. There's only 160 numbers in it total for a bike, and the bike's worth about £7,000, I believe. So it's like brand new, been rebuilt brand new. RM125 2006, pretty factory. I've actually took the pictures off of it, so I can't show you now, but I did have them on here. But yeah, and then don't forget to book into our Reunion 4, Motocross and Spear Memories Reunion 4, BSMA Reunion 4. We're at Monster Mountain on the 27th, 28th of April. Are you around, Mr. Hurry? Were you going to be recovered, Mr. Hurry? Want a little dabble on the motocross bikes? I haven't actually announced that yet, but on the Speedway Legends, I've got Andy Graham's come in, Robbie Kessler's come in, Sean Tacey's racing and doing the Legends because he races quite regularly still up in Norfolk. And I've also got reigning New Zealand Speedway champion himself, Bradley Wilson-Dean's coming as well. I think he's racing and doing the Legends as well. I'm not sure who that is. Someone's already booked in. Thank you very much. But yeah, get in contact with me either on any social media, or you can message me or WhatsApp me or whatever if you've got my number, or I can give you my number on social media or whatever. Oh, Rihanna, how's it going? Oh, you might like my new, because I've got our 2 new sponsors, Rihanna, on my new poster. And hold on, I'll just show you it before I chase up our friend, the legendary Mr. Seth Enslow. I'm just going to show you this. So you're getting a sneak peek at the new poster with me 2 new group sponsors on there from Mr. Stephen Holmes and Mr. Steve Liddington. So that's BCL Diesel Fuel Injection Auto Electrical in Wales, Swansea. And then Bathrow Studio Guys Limited and Future Kitchens as well. So I'll give you a little preview. So if that is Rihanna, you might recognise something on there. So there's our 2 new group sponsors. We've got a few more sorted as well. Just got to announce them. So if anyone wants to get involved in our Reunion 4, we're still looking for a title sponsor for the whole entire meeting. Plus, I think I've got about 3 or 4 groups, sorry. But there you go, look. You might recognise that one, Rihanna. Who's that girl? There you go, April the 27th and 28th at Monster Mountain in Wales, Merthyr Tydfil. That's my new poster I've just done. Hope to see you all there. Get in touch. Get involved. Don't miss it. Ride it. Right, let's just check my Instagram to make sure Mr. Oh, there's Trisha as well. She's... Hope you like that she's made the poster. Again, people start doing that as a bit of favouritism. Oh, I've had a message off Mr. Enslow. This is so surreal. I just remember being a youngster in the 90s when I was racing and watching Seth Enslow on the first Crusty Demons of Dirt. Absolutely mental. Now I'm messaging him. Mental. So do I need to do this on a laptop or an iPhone? I can do it on either. Hopefully we're going to get you on. Ah, oh, she's a proud man. Brilliant. That's perfect. Absolutely flat out favoritism, but I help everyone. Can't hide my bias on that on the poster. We'll get Rihanna on there. Right. Forgot to go live again on Instagram. I'm deadly at doing this because you've actually got to press the 2 buttons. So Should be live on Instagram now as well. Ashby Robbins and MX Speedway Memories. Just forgot to press the live button at the start, so we haven't missed anything. We just missed 15 minutes of me. No, I can't see you at the minute. So one more shout before I get the man on. To everyone that's on Facebook, you have to click on this link, this StreamYard.com Facebook. Look, I've put a few of them in here. You can scroll back up and go into the comments, or just come out of the live video, go on the post, click on the link, then come back in, and it should register. There's another one there. Look, you click on them, and it then should allow you to be seen like that, so I can quote you to the man. Right, Seth just said, "Okay, USA." Hey. I've got a few questions down. Obviously, I had to think of some different questions. He's not a racer as such, so I've been thinking up a few questions. So hopefully you guys and girls have got some good ones as well. Got a few pictures to put up, obviously. And I'm just sending the email to Seth. Hopefully he'll get it and click on the link, brother. Hope so, because I've now come off of that. So we've got Instagrams now running live. So we're actually running on 3 Facebooks live. My Facebook, Motocross and Speedway Memories page and group. We're running on my Twitter, Motocross Speedway, and my YouTube channel, Motocross and Speedway Memories. And then we're also live on Instagram now. They've only just added that. I've been waiting for that for ages, for them to add it to Instagram. So I'm on Ashby Robbins on there, and MX Speedway Memories on Instagram as well. Hey, here he is, Mr. Gav Richmond. How's it going, mate? Get a question in, mate. On screen with Seth Enslow. Even Ashby's got a cider. Jesus. The nerves are gone. Let's go flat out. So, Seth, you are crazy, mate. Might be talking about size of cojones tonight. So I'll put my crash helmet on for this one. Mr. Cole Battlefield, look, give me that. I've never had a spray job in a helmet in my life. So when he said to me, "Lee, do you want my shoey?" And I've always wanted a shoey and never could afford to get a shoey helmet when I race. So I love these. There's Mr. Cole Battlefield. Look, he come and rode the reunion free. Put a couple of stickers on, a couple of little scratches. Look. Slipped a couple of Motocross and Speedway Memory ones on any scratches. Typical me in the back of the day. But loved the shoey. So Mr. Cole Battlefield said, "Do you want to take my helmet?" I said, "Yeah, I do." "Yeah, bloody do, mate. Thank you very much." I'll put that in backgrounds. There's my buddy, Jorgen Nielsen. Let's sign that. Loved his shoey helmet as well back in the 500cc days. That's the actual camel Supercross top I've got off of him as well. He sent it to Reunion 3 for us, and it's Jorgen Nielsen, look, number 10, Paris Supercross, 1987. That is sick. The one behind me there. Oh, my nails just fell off the wall. But you had 2 goes at spelling friend, but that's cool. To my friend, Lee Ashby, look, hashtag number 8, Brian Jorgensen. I've got a couple off Brian Jorgensen. I've got his winning British Championship Fox shirt that he sent me, and this one that he rode the GPs on. Now I've lost my... I'm not even going to be able to put that up now. Oh well. Oh look, my head just fits in that plain bit of wall, so we're all good. Yeah, wheelbarrow for his balls. Jesus. Just want to say to him, what the hell were you thinking on Crusty Demons of Dirt number 1? What's that all about? Right, let me just chase him up a second. Right. Should have got an email. It's just hopefully he's got the email. Just double check my emails on my actual phone, so I sent it on the PC. But it's definitely sent, so it's not bounced back or anything. So that gives me the incentive that it should be okay. Should be okay, USA. Is that the worst? Am I going to continue my dad jokes? Ah, Mr. Hobbs, man with a van, the famous gorilla of Western Supermare, Legend of Swindon, the over-the-top stunt motorcycle team. You bringing that back, Andy? I haven't seen any. Is there any out there now other than those like foreign guys that do the circus and stuff like that come sometimes sort of once a year, doesn't it? Good night to be on. No Coronation Street. That's slang for, in case you didn't know. I haven't watched that since I was a kid. Oh, right. I think I can see my man down in the bottom of the screen. Hopefully, he can hear me, and I'll bring him in a second. I can see the man, Mr. Seth Enslow. Right, let's rock and roll. Let's get him in. Let's see if this works. Hopefully, fingers crossed it does. Seth.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
This is so cool. I raced. I'm obviously in the UK. Raced motocross in the 90s in the UK, and I just remember having that first Crusty Demons of Dirt video, and then obviously you hit our screens, my friend. So, how are you in general, then, Seth? What have you been up to?
Oh man, actually got up early this morning, and we ride Harleys to this little cafe up in Silverado Canyon Sunday mornings for our little morning breakfast rip. Pretty much every Sunday. It was calling for rain this morning, but we woke up, it hadn't started raining yet, so we charged it. So I just got back from that, and yeah, just having a chat with you, and then I'll find something to keep busy during the day. I can't sit still, that's for sure.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time for coming to speak to me. I've been really looking forward to this. I know everyone's gonna have been looking forward to this as well, and I'll get this out everywhere once we've done it as well, because it'll be recorded. So I do appreciate your time, Seth.
Cool. No worries.
Very surreal to be able to speak to you. It's so crazy. It's awesome. Right. I've got some pictures. I've got some questions. So, what have you been up to lately? What are you doing work-wise, Seth? What's happening in Mr. Seth Enslow's world at the minute?
Well, I joined the Heavy Equipment Operators Union, Local 12,
Yep.
here in Southern California, back in 2017.
Yep.
Mainly for the benefits, because our medical insurance has just gotten so expensive over here. It's just out of hand. So mainly for the medical insurance and dental for me and my daughter is that why I joined, and just to have another card in my back pocket is something else I can do to make money when I need to work. So it's I had the opportunity to get in there. Trigger Gum actually brought me in. He hooked me up,
Yep.
and brought me into the trade. He'd been doing it for a while, and I was happy doing construction, remodeling homes, doing whatever, working on bikes and tattooing, and just kind of working, doing whatever. But he had a good point about having that card in my back pocket and doing it for the benefits. So I joined up, and I don't work 365 a year because of the weather and the rain and the jobs not being that close. But when there's jobs within an hour drive, I jump on the big earth mover Caterpillar 657 push pull scrapers, and we move some dirt, man. We move thousands of yards of dirt daily. 100 loads is not a big day, so
Wow.
it's big dirt moving nonstop, like an assembly line of ants moving dirt, but we're big ants.
Yeah. Very big ants. Yeah. I've had my digger license in the UK, but it's only not too fun. It's only been in sort of work construction bits and sort of been in 13.5 ton ones and stuff. Wow, not massive ones. But yeah, so have you been to? So do you do any riding at all now? I know you said about on the road bikes and stuff. Do you get on any on the off road bikes at all anymore?
A little bit. I went out to Glamis Sand Dunes with Axel Hodges and Josh Hill. First part of December, did a little trip out there with them and ripped around the sand. I haven't been to the dunes in a few years, so it was good to get back in the dunes. And like back when we went to the sand dunes, it was 252 strokes, so you're just wringing its neck. You had to jet them real rich or you blow the thing up. Now with the 4 strokes, it's just like they're made for the sand. They're like, add another paddle to the tire. Let's go. So
Flat out.
yeah, so they're good fun on the 450s. But yeah, and then the year before, this year I haven't been out yet in the hills. It just started raining. We kind of had a late rain last year. We got it early in December, but this year we're just getting the rain the next few days and the last couple of days. But yeah, the hills turn green, the dirt turns to chocolate cake. You can see the snow-capped mountains in the background. It's just epic out there. Temecula, Beaumont, Ritchie Canyon, all the spots from the early Crusty Demons movies where Twitch and them live. Robbie Madison and Twitch and Taka and all them pretty much ride right from their backyard up into the hills, and just the most epic single track trail riding when it rains. It's just so good. So got out there last January. A buddy was visiting from Australia, and he wanted to go hit the hills. He'd never seen terrain like that for the west coast of Australia. All they got's like a bit of sand dunes there, the Lanceland sand dunes. which I've ridden, but just nothing like the terrain we have here in Southern California as far as dirt hills go. It's just amazing that within a couple hours you can be in the sand dunes in the desert, or come back and snowboard in the mountains and come down the hill an hour and ride in the lush green grass, chocolate cake dirt hills. So
Unreal.
terrain in
Sounds awesome.
Southern California is what moved me here and what keeps me here, really. I mean, there's a lot of, with like everything, there's a lot of bad with the good, but as far as the weather and the terrain goes, you can't beat it, man. Southern California's got it.
Yeah. So I see that. So you do your own. You do your own tattooing as well then? Because obviously I see that you guys are into the tattoos, and obviously loads of people like the tattoos. Do you do your own inking as well then? Do you?
Yeah, I got started getting tattooed back when I was about 20 years old, 21, and then basically went on a mission to get a full bodysuit, fully covered. And along that path, I met a bunch of tattoo artists and got tattooed in a few different countries. And some friends that tattooed me here in California suggested me opening a tattoo shop and having them work it and do that thing back in about 23 years ago, back in 2000, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And ran that for a couple of years, but it just wasn't really making enough money for all the attention and time it took from me. So more hassle than it was profitable. And I was still traveling and riding and doing my motocross career at the time. So I just couldn't really be there to do it. And another tattoo artist offered to take over the lease and the shop. So I sold it off to him and just moved on from that. I've continued to tattoo when I go to Australia. A lot of people like to get tattoos from me, so I'll bounce around different cities and different shops and tattoo fans and friends and do a little bit here. My daughter's 23 now, so her and her girlfriend get tattoos now and then. They come up with little ideas that they want. So yeah, it's just tattooed somebody a couple nights ago. Actually, he came by to buy some forks for his 97 CR250 off me. I had a spare set laying around, and he's like, "Hey, if I give you an extra $100, will you tattoo me real quick?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it."
Love that. Right, Seth. So I basically haven't got a tattoo at all yet. I've got my missus is trying to get me to have a tattoo of I've got my dad passed away, and he was a speedway rider in the UK, and I would love to do one of action with him. What advice can you give me with these tattoos?
Yeah, I mean, something like that, something that means something to you is definitely the way to go. I mean, I'm about a mile from Costa Mesa Speedway. I can hear the boys lapping it up on Thursday nights when they practice. And yeah, we ride our bicycles over there and watch them race during Speedway season. It's real close. But yeah, man, something to do with Speedway would be cool. And just find a good artist. Look at their portfolio, make sure they got some good jobs already been done that are similar to the style that you want, and then go for it, man, for sure.
So loads of the people are going on here going, "This is awesomeness, Seth, you are the man."
Yeah, well, just for something like that, if you go too small, it'll just kind of look like a blob of ink. So you want it a little bigger to be more detailed. If you want to show the spokes on the wheels and the sprocket, the chain, you want it a little bit bigger. So don't be afraid to put it, in a spot where you can have it a decent size.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking there, Seth, up on the top of the arm.
Yeah, that would be good. Nice and big up there. There you go.
There's him in his gear back in the day, look.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to get an action one of him on with the old levers on and all
that. What kind of gear is that? That's classic.
Yeah, it's like now they use different material like Kevlars and stuff like that. But back in the day, it was like just proper, all in one lever, zip up, bit of a back brace in the back, and that was about it.
So they were just made by some local tailor around there, or there was a company making it for the Speedway boy.
That's it. Yeah.
That's funny. I just came across this toy this morning. I was up in the attic looking for some old posters, and I came across an old crate of my father's that passed away, and he had collected a few things that I'd sent him, and I don't even have one of these myself, but I found it in his box of collectibles, so I'm pretty stoked.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Love that. Brilliant. That means a lot then. That's cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Cool. I think that's, so that helmet right there.
Yeah.
That's this helmet.
No way. Oh, look at the helmets.
Yeah. That's that helmet right there.
Wow. That's so cool. Proper memories.
That's the same helmet I had on. There's the old 1975 50. Can you see that?
Yeah. Flipping out.
And then that's the same helmet I had on here at Sinkmar's house when I was jumping over his front yard.
Mega. That's mega. So how old were you, Seth, when you first got a bike? Was it a motocross bike or what was it?
Yeah, well, I had bicycles, of course, when I was a kid, but I just dreamed about having a motorcycle. Just didn't have any money. 5 kids. Mom was raising us. Didn't have any cash, so started working at a young age. My first ride was actually a 1981 Honda 110 ATC, no suspension.
Wow.
I bought that because we lived in Pennsylvania and it snowed half the year. So I was only 13 when I bought that, something like that, 12 or 13. And I figured if I buy this, I can ride it all year long, not just in the summertime like a motorcycle. Plus, I don't have a truck to load my bike up and take anywhere. I'm not old enough yet. So I'll do the 3-wheeler thing, work up to a 4-wheeler. And then when I turn 16 and get my license, I'll buy a truck and a dirt bike and head to the races and race motocross. So that was the master plan. That's what I ended up doing. Had the ATC for a couple of years, and then I started working on dairy farms, baling the hay in the summer and milking the cows in the winter before school, and just learned the whole trade of running dairy farms for this local farmer. I'd ride my 4-wheeler down the dirt roads to and from work. It had to have been 20K away. It wasn't close. It was the other side of town, the other side of the country. But the 4-wheeler, I had a quad racer 250 Suzuki, and it had 6 gears on it. So that thing hauled ass. That was a 1987 Suzuki quad racer 250, and that thing smoked. I'd ride that to work every day and just saved up enough money to buy a pickup truck and a dirt bike. And then so my first bike I raced on was a 1990 KX 125. And that would have been in 1992. The 92s had just come out, but I couldn't afford a new bike, but I was able to get a used 1990, and they were pieces of crap. I mean, they were slow, and it was the first year that perimeter frame that Kawasaki came out with, and they were boxy and big and didn't corner, and it wasn't a good bike. But whatever, it worked through the job, and I joined the Western New York Sports Committee racing district. It was non-AMA. They had their own little district that you'd get a membership to, but they had a good group of tracks. There was 5 or 6 tracks there. They're all within about 2.5 hours from my house in Pennsylvania. I was just over the border into PA, and that was the closest track racing series to me. So I raced that for a couple of years in high school, and then wanted to go where I could ride all year long because I was limited. I got such a late start riding motorcycles. Everybody else at the racetracks had been riding since they were kids, since around PB50s, and I just dreamed about it at that age. So I got a late start, so I felt like I needed to catch up. So first thing I did was move to Florida after high school for the winter to just be able to ride all winter long. And then I just wasn't feeling the terrain in Florida. It's so flat and sandy, and I like mountains and terrain. So I knew California is where I wanted to go. So I moved back home and worked for the summer and saved up some money and charged to California. And I was 19 when I moved to California. It was the year after I graduated high school.
So your buddy here, Craig Han, I know he sent you over some wear, I believe, the safe Swansea MX. Craig from the UK. He said, I remember he showed me the video of you putting the top on that. That was mint.
Yep.
He said, look, when he comes over, he wants to get inked up.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, for sure. No worries. Let's do it.
He said thanks for his birthday message, and I obviously have to thank you for that promo video you did. That was surreal as well. I was like, holy shit. Oh, mate, I posted that everywhere, and everyone was like, holy shit, Seth Enslow, he's still here. I was like, yeah, of course he's still here.
That's funny. Yeah, it's like you duck out of the spotlight for a little bit and people forget about you.
yeah, they were all like, oh wow, Seth Enslow. Like, so how did it all come together then? So you were racing as a youngster. How did the whole the crusty thing come about, and how did you get into that? What was the plan with that? Was it just literally just do your thing, or what was there planning behind it? How did it all happen?
So there was no planning other than just chasing my dream to ride a motorcycle for a living and be a stuntman. That was my whole plan after high school. I had, grandparents and uncles and whatnot saying, what are you going to do? You going to go to college? You going to join the service, the army? What are you going to do? It's like, well, I want to see if I can make any money racing or riding this dirt. All there was back then was racing. Yeah. But I also wanted to be a stuntman because I grew up watching Dukes of Hazzard and The Fall Guy, and so I moved to Hollywood to be a stuntman. If nothing else, I could huck myself over stairs or out of trees or whatever. I did all that shit growing up, so I was all about doing stunts. But it wasn't going to happen in the small town that I lived in, so I needed to head west. And everybody said, "Oh, you won't make it. You'll be back. You don't know anybody out there. You don't have any money." Like I had like $1,400 I'd saved from painting houses over the summer, and I had a 3-year-old dirt bike and a snowboard and a couple pairs of jeans and a t-shirt or two, and I just loaded up my truck and just drove west.
Wow!
About a 3-day drive to get from New York State to California, and I didn't have any destination. I didn't know where I was going or anything, but one thing I did have is this guy that I met down in Florida when I was down in Florida for the winter before. I met him, and he said that he liked my idea about going to California, and he said, "Well, let's stay in touch." This is before cell phones and all that, so
yeah, of course.
We probably wrote each other a letter, like
pigeon posting that.
we're like, all right, so here's the plan. We're going to leave the day after Christmas. And we're going to drive to California. I'll meet you. I'll come up there in my van. You come down in your truck. We'll meet and we'll just follow each other out the 40 interstate to California. And I know this dude, Bubba, that works at Race Tech Suspension that we can talk to when we get there. We'll just stay in a hotel. We'll get some kind of rental, whatever. We'll just hang out till our money's gone. I'm like, all right, well, that sounds good to me. So we did it. We met right there on the 40 and followed each other out and slept in our cars at truck stops on the way out there. And we got there on a Thursday morning. We pulled into California, pulled into Barstow. The 40 ends in Barstow on the 15. We came down the 15 south, and right at the 215 split is Glen Helen. And of course, I knew of Glen Helen. That was a national track.
Yeah.
And it was open practice Thursday morning. So we got there perfect time, straight to the track, first stop in California. And I was just tripping on the terrain because it's so sick out there by Glen Helen, like that, all the hills and all the green grass. It was good that time of year too, right after Christmas. It was like now. It was epic. So I was just amazed, in shock, and got to ride the track. And we did practice, and then we loaded up, and we started heading over towards the 57, towards Diamond Bar, where Race Tech was, because Bubba said he was going to be working late, answering phones and whatnot, doing paperwork. So even though everybody else had left Race Tech, Bubba was still there. And we drive in from Glen Helen and start talking to Bubba. And he's a good old boy, and we're hitting it off, and he sees I got a snowboard in the back of my truck. He's like, "Oh, you snowboard?" I said, yeah, snowboard, play ice hockey, ride dirt bikes, like whatever. He's like, "Well, have you ever seen the Creatures of Habit videos?" And I'm like, "Of course, man. We watch those videos like every time before we go snowboarding. We get all hyped up and we quote lines from those movies. Like those videos are the shit, these snowboard videos." And he goes, "Well, I know those guys that made those videos." And I'm like, "No, you don't. Come on, Bubba. How would you know those guys?" And he goes, "Those guys live in Huntington Beach, and that's where I live. And it's only about half hour, 45 minutes from here. And why don't you come down there and meet me down there tomorrow, and I'll introduce you to them." And this is the first day I got to California,
Wow.
No way. Like, what are the chances? Bubba knows these guys that I've watched my teenage years to get fired up to go snowboarding.
Mental.
So things are already looking up because I'm going to meet these guys that I'd never meet in a million years, I had no idea. And I go down there, and he brings me to Dana Nicholson's house. And we start talking, and I tell Dana my whole plan, and he likes that idea. He likes stuntman, and he likes doing stunts and all that. And he asked me if I know how to do construction, because he knew I was going to need a job if I was going to make it longer than a week or two on my $1,400 that I'd brought out, especially living in a hotel room with this dude that I met in Florida. We're renting it weekly. It was a couple $100 by the week if you stayed there, but it was not a good area. And our bikes weren't probably the safest in the back of our trucks, like being there, whatever. It was up in Santa Ana and kind of a ghetto area, but not too bad, but still, whatever. It was just a temporary thing, you know? So I'm like, yeah, the job would be great. So I started doing construction with Dana shortly after that, but he told me his idea to make a motocross movie, just like the Creatures of Habit snowboard videos that I'd seen, but with dirt bikes. And I was sold. I said, okay, well, I'm not racing then. I'm taking the numbers off my bike and I'm filming with you. That's my deal. We're making the sickest video anybody's ever seen. That's what we're going to. It's on. Let's find some big jumps and film it. So we'd go do construction during the morning, during the day, get off early, and then meet up with McGrath or Emick or one of the top racers at the time that I couldn't believe I was getting a chance to ride with, and taking them free riding and film. Dana was filming them, and they'd hit these jumps that I'd never even seen anything like that. Where I grew up in riding, it was only tracks. So this freestyle riding, this free riding on just the hills was all new to me. So of course I went for the jumps that they were hitting, but I was on an old clapped out 125 with blown fork seals, you know, so it was a struggle, but I went for it. I told Dana, I said, I'll jump anything anybody else jumps, I'll jump. So I kind of put my foot in my mouth by saying, so I pretty much hit every jump that anybody hit anytime we went out filming. And that leads to the teaser that Dana showed me about the Krusty Demons video that they were making. There was a sand dune jump that Joel Albrick and Brian Manley were hitting. And I just was amazed by it. And I told him, take me to that jump. Take me to that jump. I'll hit that jump for sure. I want to hit that jump. Always just talked about it. So that ended up being the big sand dune launch in the first video. The wind had changed the jump since they'd hit it a couple of years before. And it was a lot steeper takeoff, and the landing was a lot lower down. The gap was bigger. It was just a lot different jump, but I didn't want to come up short. So I gave her. And definitely went a little far on that one, but that's kind of what put Krusty Demons and me in the books and spread worldwide.
I remember that was the look, wasn't it? I remember you because I remember the first part, and I remember you were sat like in the van or on the thing, and it pulled up your thing and your leg, and you had the big cut, and I was like,
oh yeah, right, yeah, people questioned me about that gash in my leg, and I said, well, if you think about it, your boot covers that part of your leg. So I didn't do that gash on a dirt bike. I was jumping jet skis out in the ocean, and I looped one out and jumped off the back of it because it was looped out. I should have stayed on and just rode it into the water, but I was new at jet skiing. I jumped off, tried to throw the thing. Well, it didn't throw. It just fell down below me. When I came down into the water behind it, this guy had mounted like an aluminum plate on the back of the thing to whatever, some aftermarket performance thing. It just sliced my shin, just gashed my shin wide open. So
yeah, it was massive, wasn't it? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was actually a jet ski crash accident, but
right, I see. So they got that in the video. That was pretty sick. It was like everyone was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was a big one.
So off that big first jump that everyone remembers, someone's just mentioned it now, saying I just what's he put there? Yeah, I remember him sending it off the dunes when he landed on McGrath's bike as well. I've got a picture of that, I think, as well.
The one on the there it is. That's the second. That's filming for Krusty 2. That was Thanksgiving weekend filming. It would have been Thanksgiving weekend 1995. The 96s had just come out, and that was a brand new 1996 CR250 of McGrath's, one of his spare bikes he was letting his roommate Lou borrow. And because McGrath was hitting this jump with me, he's the one that told me, yeah, fourth gear, follow the rut, you know the deal. Well, fourth gear on my bike wasn't enough to clear the crowd. So
oh, that was so funny that you landed on his out of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't care. He was laughing. He didn't care. That was the other guys that were so worked up. Everybody.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. I was going to say, what did he say about it?
Yeah, he was laughing, but Emick and Ryan Hughes, they didn't like that at all. They were kind of tripping out, but I was good to
And,
go. Me and my bike were fine. I ripped my jersey and I broke my clutch perch on my lever, but bent his frame in half, smashed the radiator, ripped tires off, beads off rims, put holes in metal gas tanks on old three wheelers, like
jeez.
trashed some things. But me and my
Yeah.
bike were fine.
So that jump, that was absolutely huge. I remember that's one of the biggest jumps I've ever seen. I was like, holy shit. And then when you landed and they come straight over to you, and you can see like it was the rim was buckled.
Yeah,
Jesus, in the sand. And it was like, Jesus Christ.
it
It's
was great
mental.
because it bent the rim.
Yeah.
It was totally bone stock, brand new bike. Somebody brought it out there. He was scared to do any jumps on it, so he let me ride it. Bad decision. And and so I bent the rim, and my helmet, like face mask part, my chin part of the helmet broke in half, but it bent the crossbar out on the stock bars quite a ways. And when I went to fix the bike for the guy, the axle was bent. So somehow the axle bent inside the hub without breaking the hub, just
Jeez.
rim and broke some spokes, bent the front axle. It's crazy.
So loads of the guys are here all writing now. Like, what gear was you in? Did you ever find out what gear you was in?
Fourth gear, we've been hitting a jump down below that big jump, a little bit
Yeah.
lower down the hill, fourth gear. And it was about the same gap, but it wasn't a step down. It was like a double. And this was
Yeah.
like a big step down. And the takeoff, like if I would have made a rut and kind of carved out the takeoff where I just kind of went off a plank,
Yeah.
straight drop down, it would have been fine. But I left the kicker on there, and there was like that little 4-foot kicker. When I hit
Yeah.
that thing at fourth gear wide open, it just popped me so high. By the time I started coming down, I'd already passed the landing. So it was, yeah, it was my first time in the sand dunes on a borrowed bike. I brought my 125 out there and blew it up in the first hour. So I wanted to ride and jump. So this guy was scared to hit jumps. I go, let me borrow your bike, man. So he did. And I was riding it all day. And then at the end of the day, they took me up to this jump that I promised I would hit. So I had to go for it. And I didn't want to come up short because the landing face was gnarly. It was a big gap. I definitely didn't want to come up short. But that's the case on every jump I've ever jumped. I don't want to come up short, so I'll always go a little long, if anything, or a lot long.
Yeah, too far. So what was the actual injuries from that? Because I remember that they ran up to you with a video, and someone mentioned the exact quote, because this is what obviously fans do. You knew the exact quote you said. It was something like, "If I needed a hospital like that, I would, but I don't need it right now." Something like that. And when they interviewed you while you was let out, it's like,
Yeah, that was in the back of the van actually at the
yeah,
hospital. They took me to the hospital and they wanted me to get out and go see the doctor, but I didn't have insurance. So I said, nah, I'm not going to see the doctor right now. I'm good. So they made me get out of the van, walk, show that I could walk because I hadn't walked yet, show that I didn't have a broken back or anything. And I was functioning. At least I could walk. But man, I just compressed my lower back. I never did see a doctor, but I just couldn't bend over for a couple of weeks. Went back to work Monday. That happened on a Saturday. Went back to work Monday morning. Couldn't bend over to screw the drywall. Couldn't reach up to screw it. Could only do a couple of screws straight in front of me. I was pretty worthless at work, but I had to work. I was broke. Like I had to make money to pay rent to keep the dream alive, you know? So
wow,
there was no money in it for a while. We didn't see any money from doing this shit and making these videos for a while, a few years, you know? So
wow,
it was still penny pinching. At this time, I didn't even have a vehicle on the road. I was living in Huntington, getting around on a skateboard. I was working every day with Dana for pennies, like
wow.
just trying to get by. Old bikes, like that bike I landed on all the other bikes with was a 92 RM 250 motor that I'd bought
Yeah,
off some dude that had rebuilt it. And I
yeah,
got a 95 RM 250 frame because they changed the graphics and plastics and frame, updated it all off Greg Albertine. Greg Albertine was riding for Factory Suzuki at the
yeah,
time, and he had
yeah.
spare frames because he would just ride the hell out of them and just change the frame out. So he had all these frames in his garage. I'm like, what's up on the frame, bro? So he gave me one of his 95 frames. I took that 92 motor and made it look like I had a new bike, but it was an old Roach. And
Ah,
the 92 motor, the guy that rebuilt it had broken the power valve arm that comes up from the bottom end of the motor, clips into the side of the cylinder to the power valve linkage. he broke the clip on there when he was putting the motor together. So the valve was never opening. It was always just choked out. It wasn't letting the exhaust
Is
out.
that why it wouldn't go in properly? Yeah.
So yeah, it was running fine. I brought it out to the sand dunes in a basket case. Everybody got tired of waiting around for me to put my freaking bike together. So they took off, went to find jumps to film, and I finally got the thing all together, got it fired up, pinned it out to them, and I noticed it ran great along the flats and down hills, but as soon as I'd put it under a load, start climbing a hill, it would bog out. But I was young, I was excited to be jumping with the boys, McGrath and all them. Like I was really looking forward to this day, so I went for it anyway. And the bike just didn't have the power. As soon as I started going up the takeoff, that's why I started way back from farther than their end run to try to get more speed. But when the power valve's not opening, your bike's never gonna breathe and let that exhaust out. So it just fully bogged, and I didn't go anywhere near as far as they did, and landed on the people that were basically on the safety deck of the jump that everybody else was jumping over their heads.
Yeah.
So
So it sort of kind of worked out for them, really, because it sort of ended up making the video so much better, didn't it?
Well, it did. It was because after the first video, everybody's like, okay, you guys are filming for Krusty 2. What are you going to do to match what you did in the first video? What kind of crazy jump or stunt are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. We're just going to keep looking for big jumps. We'll see. And then that happened. We're like, okay, we got the shot for part 2.
That's it. That's it. That is unbelievable. Crazy, man. Unbelievable. So I was going to ask you this question. Has there been any jumps that you've actually genuinely thought, shit, this is scary. This is proper scary. Have you ever been proper scared of any jump thinking, this is dodgy?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's been a few jumps like that, but that's when you just have to flip the switch and just be like, you know what? Won't know till we try. We'll figure it out. So you just got to flip that fuck it switch and just go for it. Like, you can't think of it not working out. You just thinking one way or another, I'll pull out of this. I'll find a way to make this possible somehow, some way. But I mean, there's been a lot of jumps that I've prepared for and lined up and got filmers rounded together, like the jump at St. Mars that I over jumped. That was like 3 days before Christmas. The whole film crew was there. We piled a huge pile of dirt on St. Mars Parents Road, blocking their driveway, blocking everybody else that lived on that road to get to their houses' driveways. Like we totally shut down the whole street. Basically, it was country dirt road, but still, it was a big effort. And Christmas was right around the corner. The wind was howling. It wasn't prime conditions, but rushed. Haste makes waste. It got rushed, and I said, "Fuck it, let's just do it." And that was a bad decision. But it almost took my life. But then, years later, I got the chance to jump 300 feet in Australia, and I remember that night before I cleared that 300-foot mark, just thinking to myself, "What did I get myself into?" Like, how many years have I been chasing this dream to jump a football field, and now it's the time. And this is gnarly. Like, it's go time. Like, now we got to hit this ramp at 95 miles an hour plus and try to get over 300 feet. So, all right, let's do this, because like the older you get, the more you have to live for, the more you have to lose. I had a daughter. I owned a house. I got things. When I was young, I didn't have anything, man. I was broke. I didn't care. It was let's go. It's now or never. One shot. We got this. But as you get older, you got, you want to be start thinking, hey, this is dangerous, man. Like when I was young, I didn't even think about that. I didn't care. It didn't even cross my mind. Like, who cares? Whatever. I'll heal. I'll get better. We'll do it again. But you get older, you start thinking twice about things. So definitely, has crossed my mind where I've been, oh man, what did I get myself into? But it's go time. I'm a man of my word. I say I'm going to do something, I got to do it. So it's sticking to your word. Sometimes sticking to your word gets scary.
It does. And we were talking before we come on. We were like, Jesus Christ, Seth must have a serious set of balls on him. He must carry him around with a wheelbarrow or something. Let's go. That's absolutely immense. Did you have like heroes, like Evil Knievel types and all that? Were they heroes of yours that made you want to do that as well? Was that the thing as well?
Or? I wouldn't say heroes. I mean, I was born in 75, but Evil did his last jump, I believe, in 75. So he was kind of a little before my time. And we didn't, my mom was like, get outside. So we didn't like watch TV or have TV a lot of times or video games or none of that. We were like 5 kids getting raised by mom, get outside and play. Winter, rain or shine, get outside. You're not staying in the house all day. So I didn't really, but what I did catch was the Fall Guy, Dukes of Hazzard, and you know, things like that. And I just thought the stunts that they did was awesome. So we always tried doing stunts, jumping off barn roofs, out of trees, things like that, towing each other behind vehicles in the wintertime and sliding on sleds and whatever on the snow and just whatever. So yeah, it was kind of more just looking up to stuntmen in general. And also when I found motocross, then it was all the top racers like McGrath and Hughes. I was a big fan of Damon Bradshaw. I remember Doug Henry and Damon Bradshaw. I liked those guys a lot when I was young, when I was a teenager, getting into the racing thing. And I'd study the magazines and read all the tech tips and just imagine it in my mind, because there'd be snow on the ground and I wouldn't be able to go actually practice it. So I'd have to just imagine it and think it through. So when I got on the bike the next year, it would already be like second nature, because it ran through my mind so much and I studied it and memorized it and meditated on it so much that I'll be faster in spring than I was in fall, just from studying these like Dirt Rider magazine and Motocross Action.
Yeah, because we actually sort of grew up in the same era, because I was born in 77. That's when you're saying Fall Guy and all that, was exactly all the stuff I watched.
Yep.
TJ Hooker.
Yep. MacGyver was always good. He could fix anything with some duct tape.
That's it. Craig's just come on as well again. He just said, Seth, what was the injuries from Manny's place that ovaled the wheels? Do you see Manny much these days too? He's a good guy.
Yeah, I see Manny anytime we go out and you know, do the motocross thing. So Anaheim Supercrosses, or like Colby Raha had a video premiere not long ago. I saw him there, and we catch up, we chat, comment on each other's posts and stuff. But yeah, Manny's a great guy, and the damage from that crash was actually a broken femur and just some gnarly gouges out of my hips from some of the rocks that were embedded in the dirt on my tumble down the hill with the broken leg. I had some big tears and lacerations in my hips and side, I remember. But I was just overall just pummeled, man. I just like that really, really pummeled me tumbling down that hill, and it broke my femur, but then with it flopping around, it really messed up my knee and just all the ligaments. It took a long time to heal from that one. But yeah, man, I just got greedy, and me and Scummy were jumping 230 feet the day before on that ramp that I set up there. And I figured, well, maybe if I pull the ramp back a little bit and prop it up, I can go a little farther. But that was a bad idea, because basically we didn't have much in run. We were barely getting the speed to go as far as we were. So by moving the ramp back, it shortened my in run distance to get speed. The other thing that happened that a lot of people don't know is this happened in 2002.
Yeah.
The day before, I was jumping my 2000 model CR, and that was my favorite bike. And I loved the 2000 motor. They had that motor from, I believe, 92 all the way till 01. The Honda CR250 motor. In 02, they changed it and added that RC valve. That motor didn't produce as much top end as the old motor did. And I had chosen to ride my 2000 because it just seemed to scream and pull more on the top end. Well, Brian Manley, who helped move the dirt around to set that ramp up there, he's like, why are you riding that bike? Don't you have a new 02? I'm like, yeah, but this thing's faster. He's like, yeah, but when's the last time you changed the top end in that thing? And he started like getting in my head about all this shit. And I'm like, bro, the thing's fine. It's got plenty of compression. It doesn't matter when I change the top end. Like it's fine. So I went home and I took the stiff suspension off that bike and put it on the O2 and came back with my O2, moved the ramp back. So all this is like, you can already tell it's all bad decisions. Like switching to a slower bike was a bad decision. Moving the ramp back was a bad decision because now I have less in run. Just not calling it good, what we already did the day before, and just being happy with it instead of getting greedy and thinking, oh, 20 more feet ain't shit. We can, because back then the record was still 251 feet.
Yep.
So jumping 230 feet, and even, I mean, it's not flat ground. I wouldn't have really counted it as a flat ground distance record, but the numbers would have been there, and it would have been cool to do, even though I wouldn't qualify it as an actual distance jump because it's coming down a hill, it's landing on a natural hill. It's not flat ground takeoff to landing, which I consider distance records to be, staged as.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, whatever. I got greedy and got cocky and I got hurt, and that's what happens. But the other thing I had on was aftermarket wheels, hubs, spokes, and rims. Stock Honda wheels and triple clamps are the strongest, hands down. The
No
two
way.
times I've broken my front end off or cracked a triple clamp, they were aftermarket billet triple clamps. I only do big jumps with the stock lower triple clamp now because
Wow.
of them. The aftermarket ones look cool, all billet, but they're not as strong as the cast Honda forged ones. They're just not forged, but they're cast. Poured liquid, poured into the molds and cast down, compressed down.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
yeah, just the aftermarket parts look cool, but you can't beat stock Honda as far as rim, spoke, hub strength goes and triple clamp strength goes. I wouldn't have broke the front end. I wouldn't have hit my head on the handlebars at St. Mars because the bottom clamp broke. The top break. So that's why the front end stayed off. But when the bottom clamp broke at St. Mars, it raked the bike out, allowing the bottom of the frame to dig into the ground, throwing me forward to hit my eye on the 8mm bolt on the front brake lever. So if the clamp wouldn't have broke, it wouldn't have thrown me forward, and I would have brought my head down where I planned on the side of the gas tank behind the bars and rode that bitch out. But because the clamp broke, it threw a brake check on me and dug the frame into the ground. It raked the bike out a bit, choppered it out, dug it in. There was 1 foot gouges in the dirt road about that deep from the spare tubing on the frames underneath the motor from where my frame dug in, where I landed. So aftermarket clamps got me a couple times, and I didn't learn my lesson. After the first time, 6 months earlier, when the whole front end broke off my bike in Vegas, I went to the triple clamp company and I said, hey, we need to make a stronger clamp. Instead of honing out the bottom, making it lightweight, let's leave it solid billet all the way across. Instead of 2 bolts on each side, let's put 3 bolts on each side. Let's make this thing strong. All right. So they made me a nice strong one, supposedly. Put it on the 500s. That was the bike that had the 500 frame and the 99 250 a 500 motor in the 99 250 frame, aluminum frame. So I put that clamp on that bike, and then it broke on me, and that's the big reason why I hit my head on the handlebars. I mean, obviously I overjumped the landing. The landing was too small. We needed more dirt.
I saw that.
No more dirt to offer. There was one more landing at St. Mars little riding area beside his parents' house, but he didn't want to give up that dirt. He's like, you ain't taking all my landing, dude. I got to have one. So he wouldn't give me any more dirt, and it just wasn't enough dirt. I mean, the landing was shorter than the takeoff. The takeoff was 15 feet tall, and the landing was maybe 11 or 12 feet tall. So it should be a step up. It should be like 20-foot high landing, and then way longer. So there's just a bigger, because those higher speeds, you start passing the ground faster. You're flying through the air so quick. 20 feet goes by like that. So you need a bigger target, longer landing, still good angle of steepness. So you need a taller starting point, and we just didn't have the dirt to do it.
Did that not freak you out, that accident? Because obviously it was gnarly, and then obviously all the stuff come out afterwards, and I know some of it was put in the promo stuff and stuff like that, but it was like crazy.
I was contracted to do these monster truck shows in January that year, and happened on December 22nd, like I said, a few days before Christmas. So exactly 1 month later from that day, so January 22nd, 1 month after the crash, I jumped 175 feet in the Houston Astrodome in Texas for a monster truck show. And the thing about this accident is I broke my collarbone. When I fell off the bike onto the road, I hit my shoulder and broke my collarbone. So that was still floating. It hadn't fully healed yet.
Yeah.
And I hit my head, but my head was fine. It was all numb. So I wasn't worried about putting a helmet on. It didn't hurt. It was just my collarbone that wasn't fully healed. So I was just hoping I downsided the landing perfect, which I did. So it ended up being all right. But the thing about that monster truck contract I had was if I missed one show, the whole contract would be out the door. No good. Stop, and it was like a 6 or 7 stop series of monster truck shows, Texas, and a couple in California, and a couple, I think one up in South Dakota, and yeah, a couple different states. But so yeah, I had to get back on the horse, man. I was contracted, and like I said, I told somebody I'm going to do something. I got to do it. When there's work to do, you got to show up to work, whether you feel good or not.
Crazy, man. I've just got some cool pictures of some of the jumps there.
Cool.
That's so gnarly. That's so flipping out. Oh man, like that one with the planes as well. That was crazy, man.
That was a good one.
That's cool, wasn't it? That's in
Yeah.
a magazine as well. So that's like things like that. No one's ever going to forget anything like that. What did you always think of these? Like, that was very cool, these advertisements, because like you said, you grew up and we all looked at these magazines, and even in the UK, we had those American magazines and our own ones and stuff, and looked at all the Americans and stuff. It must have been very cool to be in these magazines on these advertisements and stuff like that. And
Yeah, 100%. That was my first poster there that Shift did. That was really cool. And I'm riding the 96 that I landed on. That bike in the back that I'm jumping was the 96. So
right.
that's what happened there. McGrath wanted a new bike. He didn't want us to fix his bike. So Fleshwind Films, Dana and John, took some of their budget money, whatever, for making the films and bought McGrath a new bike. And they got that bike. So they let me ride it. We went and got a new gas tank, new radiator, new frame, and FMF did the suspension. So I got to ride a brand new bike. So that was my first brand new bike ever that I got to ride. I got to ride it here, and then we took it to Brazil and left it there when we went to Brazil that year. And then Shift bought me my 97 that I still have today, my 97 CR250. That was my first brand new bike that I actually owned. But this was the first brand new bike that I actually got to ride for the year and treat it like it was mine.
That's beautiful. Chris has just said as well, have you still got some of your old motocross bikes or a collection at all now? So we saw one hanging out. So what have you got exactly? Yeah,
I've got the old 75 MR50 two-stroke that my daughter learned how to ride on because it's got a clutch. I was born in 75. That's why I bought that bike. And then I've got my CR250, my first bike that Fox got me when I started riding for Shift. Got that one. I just went through that one and fixed it all up. And then I've got the couple first generation CRF 450 aluminum frames. I got an 02 and an 03 CRF 450. And then I've got my 08 CRF 450 that I jumped 300 feet on, but that one's actually in Australia at a friend's house in Australia.
Nice. There's a couple more here. There's some cool. Did some cool ones with Shift.
Yeah, that's a good one. Funny.
Good old days.
Yeah. Did you find these online or did you have the magazine?
Yeah. I literally I dig them up from everywhere, Seth.
Cool.
It's my thing to dig out the pictures. I'll send them all to you as well, so you've got some.
Thanks. Yeah, so that box cover was cool because it was a VHS box cover, and we embossed the staples so you could feel them, and they popped out. They were raised up out of the cardboard. They were 3D. The staple head on that box cover was cool.
That's pretty sick.
The other cool thing was that movie came out on VHS right as everybody was kind of switching over to DVD. PlayStation's DVDs, everybody's getting DVD players. So a lot of VHS and DVDs were sold from that Hardway video. That was good.
But it just goes to show, because I've literally just got another VHS so I can watch some older tapes that I've got and stuff like that. So I've just literally got one.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I felt Disturbing the Peace SMP video, and I wanted to see some clips in there, but I couldn't find it via VCR anywhere. So I went on eBay, found some guy local that had one, and I grabbed it up. It has the DVD and VCR in one, so I thought maybe dump some VHS onto DVD, but it doesn't work. Like, it does play VHSs, but it doesn't. It won't copy one to the other.
Got some. What was that like as well? Obviously, jumping the bigger bikes and stuff like that. What was that like? Because you've done so many records as well, haven't you? Doing these things.
Yeah. The Harley. So when I jumped 300 feet, I was happy with that. That was a goal of mine, is to jump a football field, jump over 300 feet. So I jumped 301 feet in 2008.
Yeah.
And then the question was, okay, well, what's next? Are you going to jump farther? Are you going to go for the record? You're going to try to beat Robbie now that Robbie jumped farther than that? I'm like, no, I'm happy with 300 feet. I'm done. I don't really care to jump any farther. It's just a matter of speed. So you want to go fast, you get a bike that goes faster, you go farther. I jumped 300 feet. That was my goal. Evil Knievel passed away right around this time. So
Mm.
I thought it'd be cool to jump on a Harley, because I've had Harley since I was 20 years old, 21 years old. I've had a Harley. So I've always ridden my Harleys in my spare time. And I thought it'd be cool to see how far I could fly a Harley, see if I could beat Evil's record of jumping Harleys. So we got this XR 1200 came out, and it's basically a replica of the old XR 750s that Evil used to jump. Same style, like flat track rear fender and same shape gas tank, just a big brother, 1200 cc. So that's a bike we chose to fix up. And my good friend Gavin Walker owned a Harley KTM dealership in Mildura, Australia. And he took some KTMs, this white power suspension, and got triple clamps made and got them bolted on this 1200. And we changed the foot bag position a little bit and lengthened the swing arm a little bit. And it was ready to fly. So I believe it was early 2010 or late 2009. I did the Harley Davidson world distance record in Sydney, Australia.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's mental. Absolutely awesome. I've just got one of my buddies has just come on from New Zealand, Darren Wilson. He raced Speedway, and his son's the reigning New Zealand Speedway champion as well, actually. And he's coming down
Right.
to our event. He just put on Wednesdays, I used to race Speedway next to Star West. Is that off Ramona in Paris, is it?
Yep.
Jeremy and Button would come down. I taught them to ride a Speedway bike, and then we would ride the motocross track and race Speedway that night. Mike and Scott Bow were the promoters. Have you ever ridden a Speedway bike? I had that question written down.
I have not.
Haven't you?
I remember McGrath riding one in his Steel Roots video. He had a girl teaching him how to ride Speedway bikes.
Yeah.
What was her name? Forget her name. How am I not remembering her name? Anyways, I'm terrible with names. But yeah, so he rode one, but I never had the opportunity. I mean, the Speedway track's right here close. I just haven't really pursued it, and haven't the offer hasn't been available. I did Knobby Night at Costa Mesa Speedway. They had Knobby Night, so we took our 450s and raced them around. Me and Beerman and Trigger and a bunch of the boys a couple years ago. We've done freestyle in the center of the oval at Costa Mesa Speedway for years. I was in the first group that ever did jumps there back in the day, and they continue to do that for the fair every year at the fairgrounds. Opening night for the fair, they do a freestyle motocross show. But no, man, I'd love to ride a Speedway bike someday. It just hasn't happened.
He said, Darren's just said, is it Angela Hale?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, look, Darren's just put, I will come over in June, July, and I will come and pick you up. I have bikes.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Oh, mate, that's got to be something to be recorded, that is. Hook me up, Darren. Wes as well, he's a big retro man. He's got a big group on Facebook, Super Evo motocross stuff and that. And he's put my VCR chewed up my 97 AMA 125 MX video last week. That's a scary thing, isn't it? Chewed it up. Get it on a DVD now, isn't it? We've got to try and get them on DVD. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yep.
So other than you had like Shift and that, was there a lot of cool sponsors you had over that time once your name was out there? Obviously it was a massive thing at the time. You were literally, everyone knew about you.
Yeah, Shift and Fox was definitely the biggest, and did the most for me. They distributed my first video, this Hardway video, and I had a signature line of gear with royalties, and I'd fly up there and help design the baggy over the boot pants that we were all running back then.
Yeah,
that was a good run. Too bad it couldn't have lasted a little longer, but that was good. And then the shoe sponsors, the shoes were big back then, like DVS, Etnies and Vans were all jumping into the motocross world, sponsoring riders. So that was a good sized paycheck for a lot of us. What I missed was the energy drinks. I kind of came in and out before like Monster and Red Bull and all that got real big and started throwing money at the boys. So that was a big paycheck that I kind of came in too soon for. But yeah, just I've considered jumping the Harley again. I just because I think 200 feet, I jumped 300 feet on the dirt bike. I think 200 feet would be cool to do on a Harley to set that as the record. But nobody's tried to beat my 183 foot distance on a Harley, and to break my own record is kind of silly. So I'm holding out, but like, there's just no money in it. There's no value to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
big risk in it, like you said.
Yeah, nobody's gonna cough up money to see that, and so if there's no value to anyone else, there's no value to me. So it's like I've been there, done that. So unless there's a paycheck involved, I don't really care to do any more.
It needs to be like an event for like Red Bull or Monster or something like that. Like that's what it needs, isn't it?
Yeah, something. I thought Harley would get behind it. Like I did that jump for not much, and Harley Australia got behind me 100%, and they're great and still are great to me when I go there. But America Harley, they're like, cool, good job. I was thinking, okay, well, what about having me come and do maybe not record jumps, but come and do exhibition jumps, jump over the Harley Semi in Sturgis, all these big bike rallies that you go to every year, Daytona Bike Week, Sturgis, Laconia, all these big bike rallies, Four Corners, Colorado, have me come in and do a little, get behind Harley Davidson, do exhibition jump and just kind of at least do a few shows a year doing exhibitions. But they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want the risk and the whatever, the liability, I guess. They didn't want to attach themselves to it. So whatever. When that didn't really get wings and take off, I pretty much put it to bed and called it a career.
It's a shame, right? Who are your closest friends in the motorcycle world? Then Seth, who's the guys you still keep in contact with? And
I'd say the closest in our group would be probably be Kerry Hart and Ronnie Fife.
Yeah.
Brian Deegan. We were all pretty neck and neck, same time era, and traveled a lot together. And I went to Japan with Feist and Brazil with Kerry and Peru with Link Ogle, and yeah, it's just some of the OGs from the first Crusties. We still talk now and then. I mean, we've all got our own lives and on our own paths. We don't live that close together, but when we see each other, it's like we didn't miss a beat. It's just like it's like 20 years didn't just go by. It's like it was
That's it. So the Metal Militia, that was pretty crazy as well. That was a good. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, that was good. I mean, Deegan and Link Ogle killed it with that, and it was cool to be in the little group there with them and travel around and do the militia shows and yeah, just kind of just be in that clique with all the boys. It was our own little bike club.
Look how cool this is, Seth. So we've got this chap is on here. Look, he's got his youngster on his bike there in his profile, and he's just put, "My little lad Seth wants to say hi to Seth. I named him after him. He's watching for a little bit just before he goes to bed."
Nice. What's up, Seth? How you doing, buddy?
That's mint. That's brilliant. See, look, say no more.
Yeah, you got lucky, bud. Good name.
Love that. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Good night to you, Seth, as well. What about the Supercross boys that you said you used to hang around with back in the day? Do you ever speak to any of them guys anymore, or?
Sometimes I run into Jeff Emick and McGrath, to see McGrath now and then. So it's crazy because we all live in Southern California and we're not that far away, but we're not that close. So if you're doing something like, and I don't really go to the tracks and ride much. So it's wish I had more time to do more of that. I'd love to go to Mammoth Mountain and race the vet races with the boys, but just not really quite there yet. And I just wouldn't be happy with my performance on a track after not riding for so long. I really need to put the time in, and I live by the beach, so to ride is at least an hour away with traffic, fuel in my big diesel 7.3. It's a lot of effort. It's a day's work, and it costs me money.
Mm.
And these days I work for money, and time is money, so
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
it makes it hard to go riding a lot, and to actually get to that level where I would feel good racing anyone. I would want to go to the track 3 times a week, get my arm pump taken care of, get comfortable, get all the jumps on the track, and that'd take a little while.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so I just don't have the time and to put that effort into it, or the desire really at this point. But that's where I catch up with these boys is industry events.
That's awesome. He's just come back and said, brilliant. He said he's jumping around the bedroom now. You won't be able to get him to sleep now.
He's up now.
Also, we had a quick chat when we was talking on the Instagram about that you knew some of the Speedway guys, because obviously I do live interviews with all the Speedway guys. I grew up with that. My dad and my uncle race pro Speedway and stuff, so grew up with that as well. Like I did an interview with not long ago with Billy Hamill. He said he parted with you back in the day. I don't know if you've ever seen Bruce Pennell or not. Obviously, he was a super legend over here as well.
Yeah. I know Bruce. I met Bruce years ago. I went actually. Him and his friends had me come over for one of their kids' birthday parties, and
No way.
in the backyard. We rode 50s around. I just hung out at the birthday with these kids, and they hired me to come and hang out with their boys for the day. So I've known Bruce for a long time.
Ah, cool. Craig's just put here, Seth, the Crusty Tour was cancelled in the UK. Bub said to me way before his passing that there was a promoter guy that messed up. They got a new promoter guy now. Would the Crusty Tour reschedule and ever come to the UK again?
I doubt it. There's just there's a lack of a good promoter and lack of funding to put something together, and basically that's all to do with the promoter. The last promoter they used. I mean, I'm not involved in any of that. It's all Johnny and Dana's name and likeness they deal with, and they hired a promoter, and he kept saying he was going to go to New Zealand, but then he kept using the COVID, back out, all COVID, we can't travel, this and that, the stadium. I don't know. It's a bunch of nonsense. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would just take somebody really to take it and get behind it with money on top of the promotional advertising. And I mean, it's a big effort putting on a live event. So it's got to be somebody that's used to doing it and successful at doing it and making it happen. I would tap into all the advertising and venues and all that, because the riders are definitely willing to do a show as long as the promoter pays them. So it's not about finding riders; it's about finding promoter and somebody that put together a good show and not be a total idiot and lying to the people and just whatever. It's tough. So I don't know. It'd be a bit nothing in the works right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got Ben Pig in here. I just missed this earlier on YouTube. He's just put, Seth, you're big in Australia. My boss in Australia had you jumping at his when you was on the Harley, and I also think this is the time that you came into the bar in Mildura on the Harley and done a burnout.
Yep, Mildura. That's where Gavin's shop was. The one that built the jump bike, and we downtown, the little Irish pub. We went in there, and it's a wood floor, and there's just tire marks all over the wood floor in the main bar.
That's awesome. That went down well then. That was brilliant.
Oh, yeah, man, the stuff we've gotten away with in Australia is unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet. So how are you physically now then? From you've obviously had some major get-offs. How are you physically these days? How are you?
I'm good. I just I had shoulder surgery again a couple years back, about 2 years ago. When I was jumping the Harley, building up to the record jump, they had me jumping it in the small stadiums on the freestyle ramps, and that bike's so big and long and heavy, it just was too big for that landing, and I over jumped it. And when I came off the back of the bike, I blew my shoulder out. That was back in '09, before I did the record jump on the Harley. So I had surgery then. I tore the rotator cuff all apart from the bone, and the surgeon didn't really do the best job. And over time, just whatever he did, the stitching he put in tore out, and it just got real bad and kept getting worse. Then my bicep tendon popped out of its groove and started feeling like my bicep was ripping off the bone when I would do my construction. Like I'm lifting drywall over my head, hanging ceilings, and like I do hard labor. I work, like I don't sit around. So I had to get it operated on. So I did 2 years ago, and it's getting better. It's feeling better. But besides that, not bad. The hip's a little sore from having that rod in my femur for all those years. It was too long for the bone, so it kind of ground out my hip a bit and gave me a bit of a sore hip. But for the most part, I'm good. Still have some screws in my ankle. So that plays up a little bit here and there, but no permanent limp. I can usually walk without a limp for the most part. Lower back gets jacked up sometimes if I lift something too heavy. I'll feel it for a week or so. I got to be careful about that. But I'm good, man. I'm healthy. I'm eating real healthy. I haven't drank alcohol in 3 years, and I'm feeling great. And I feel 20 years younger. I get up at 4 or 5 every morning and work every day, and whether it's on my own house or moving dirt or building homes or remodeling homes or motorcycles or Harleys or dirt bikes, like I do a lot of things, have a lot of tools, and I just stay busy.
Nice. Do you keep up with all the supercross and motocross side of things now? Do you watch all that?
I didn't for a few years. I wasn't too into it, but now I'm back interested again. So yeah, I got Peacock, and we went to A1, and I watched that. Anaheim's only 10-15 minutes from my house here, and then we watched A2 live at my house. We kind of had a Bubba send-off barbecue party at my house for A2, and we streamed it live, and all the boys from the old movie, John and Dana, came down, and some of Bubba's old friends, and like Don Zabo, Damian Sanders, the old pro snowboarders from the Creatures of Habit movies came over, and it was cool to get the boys back together. I hadn't seen some of the boys, even though we live so close together. We don't really work together anymore, so we haven't seen each other in quite a while. It was a good catch up. And then, just watched this weekend's race, that last night actually, because on Peacock. I didn't live, but I watched it a couple hours after, and yeah, I'm kind of keeping up, paying attention. Just Jet, just amazing. That kid is just unbelievable on a bike.
Yeah.
And it's good because he's not totally dominating every race like McGrath or Ricky Carmichael or James Stewart did. There's still a few guys that could win. Now Plessinger's winning, like Webb could win, Tomac could win. There, it's interesting.
Stacked, yeah.
Yeah, when it's the same guy is going to win every weekend, it's like, why watch the race when you already know who won, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but now when it could be a handful of different guys be the winner, it's keeps it interesting, keeps you coming back for more of the next week.
Is there any of the riders that ride now that actually get you off your seat, that excite you to watch at all? Any of the riders that you like?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Jet's amazing to ride. Tomac's a great rider as far as racers go. I don't know, man. It's crazy in freestyle. Like, I remember when Jacko Strong was practicing front flips on one of our Australian tours, and he crashed every weekend. He crashed on that thing. He was all padded up, and we had like a resi mat on top of the landing, and he just kept going for it. And he'd start way back farther than the rest of us would and pull the ramp back 5 feet to 80 feet because we were all jumping 75. And he would just huck himself every weekend and never quite get it to the wheels until the last show. It was, I think it was a Cap City tour, so it would have been probably the 5th show. And he finally pulled it around and landed it, and then got him wired. And then to see Adelberg practice him and get him dialed in now to be able to throw him as one of his trick bags is just amazing. Like, not to mention the backflip combinations, the double backflips, and now the triple backflip that that these boys are doing. These Aussie boys are really just taking the reins and taking it to the next level. I mean, Pastrana really did take it to the next level in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of Australians that have jumped right in there and grabbed the reins and taken it to the next level as well.
Did you actually ever do any of that practicing? Because I know a lot of the guys, when they're trying to do their tricks and stuff, they go in them pits and practice it over and over. Did you ever do any of that?
Yeah, when Deegan was still living in Temecula, he had a nice foam pit. I went out there and wrapped some of that heat wrap that I put on my Harley pipes around my pipes so I didn't catch the foam on fire, and did some backflips into the pit. And I was getting them around sweet on the super kicker. And, it's one of those things where you kind of have it, it's all in the head. So you got to have it right in your head and be confident in your head about the whole thing. And I was planning to come back another day and do some more flips and just be 100% confident in myself that it's consistent every time, because there still was that occasional one that you'd under rotate or over rotate. So before taking it to dirt, I wanted to make sure that I had them 10 for 10 type of thing. And I didn't, but I had Bilko and Feist and a bunch of dudes there, and they're like, "You got him, mate. You're wasting them into the pit. That was another perfect one. Come on, take him to dirt." So I'm like, all right, well, if you're calling me out, I guess I got to do it. So I take it over to the dirt, and it's a step up. So I don't have that time, that falling time to rotate, for one thing. And for two, right before I hit the jump, Feist tells me, don't pull too hard. Just lean back and be gradual. It'll come around. Well, that's bad advice on a step up, because you actually got to pull a little harder because you're not having that fall time. And I under rotated, landed on the front wheel, ended up over the bars. The bike landed on me, knocked me out, and just felt like I got crushed by a ton of bricks. Didn't break anything, but man, my whole upper body was just so shattered feeling. I just crushed. I was like, you know what? I'm way too old to be learning new tricks. And there's no value in me backflipping at this point in my career. I'm not going to get paid more to backflip in Australia on this tour, because we were going for a 2010 Krusty tour in Australia. So this is after I'd done the Harley record, had one more tour, and I just switched to 450s because I'd only hit freestyle ramps on my 252 strokes up to this point. So I just my 450, took it out to Deegan's, was hitting the freestyle ramp, getting comfortable. They're like, "Hey, do some backflips." All right, do some backflips. You might as well try the backflip. It'd be cool if you backflipped on the shows in Australia. Yeah, but are they really going to pay me more for backflipping? Probably not. But I went for it anyway and weeded myself, and I pretty much threw in the towel on that. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to back. I'm done. I'm good on that one. So I never landed one to dirt, but I did pull a few.
Did it on the phone? Yeah. Is there any particular jumps that you're most proud of, or any of the certain jumps that still stick in your mind that are most proud of?
Yeah, probably just the two at the end of my career, my successful ones, my the 300-foot jump in 2008 in Australia, and then and the Harley jump a couple years later over in Australia as well. So those were definitely ones I'm most proud of. But I'd say the jump that put me on the map was obviously the first Krusty Sand Dune launch. Then backed it up was the next year landing on the bikes. And
that was good.
To travel the world with our dirt bikes and make a living riding motorcycles for 15, 20 years was amazing. And all the countries we got to see. And, of course, you wish you were a little bit older when you did all that so you could appreciate it a little bit more, because when you're young, you're just like dumb and full of cum, and you're just like chasing this big jump search for these big jumps everywhere. And a lot of these countries didn't have big jumps. It's not like California where you can just bring a shovel and make a big jump like in the hills. So we got shut down in a lot of countries where all we could do was beach drive-bys and pop off these little rocks, and just like we called it gay shit. That's gay shit, man. That's like that stuff's so that's baby stuff. We don't want to do that. Like, come on, stuff's so small. We want some big jumps. So we'd get frustrated in these countries that we should have been enjoying and just like taking it all in. We're just young, just on this mission to make cool videos and find big jumps. So besides that, I can't complain, man. It was an awesome ride, and the best thing is that most of us made it out in one piece, and we're still riding to this day.
Just got one of the guys on here has just asked, did Seth jump Larocco's leap? Did you ever get to do that on a motocross bike?
I never went to that track. Never got to that track. I raced a couple national tracks. I raced Glen Helen.
Yep.
Raced Steel City in Pennsylvania. I raced what else did I race? I raced Gainesville down in Florida.
Yep.
I raced Binghamton, Broome Tioga in New York State. I raced Unadilla in New York State.
Yeah,
I raced what's the other one in Pennsylvania? There's Steel City, and then there's High Point.
Yeah.
High Point National. So I raced those two. And then Glen Helen. Yeah, Glen Helen. What else? I think that's about it for national tracks. So yeah, I never got to Larocco's Leap.
You've done slightly bigger than that.
Yeah.
That's a mini for Seth.
Yeah, right.
That's just like a third gear blip. Have you had because we're obviously getting them come in the UK now. They're actually using the start bikes in the UK arena Supercross as I speak. Have you had to go on the electric bikes, Seth? And what do you think about them in general?
I haven't. I'm definitely would like to give one a little ride and check it out. But I mean, I grew up on gas powered motors, powdered tractors, and I'm not a big fan of the whole electric battery cars and trucks and motorcycle thing, but I'm not saying they don't make cool power and wouldn't be fun to ride, but I don't know. Just the whole thing about plugging it in to charge it instead of just putting gas in it is a bit much. I mean, I don't even own a fuel injected dirt bike. All my dirt bikes still have kickstarters on them. All these guys have push button start, fuel injection. They tune their bikes with a laptop. I still have jets. So I'm a bit old school as far as all that goes. So I'm definitely not the one to be on the forefront of the electric movement.
No. So as it stands then, no more plans to do any jumping?
No plans. I mean, at this stage of my life, I like being healthy and feeling good. I don't want to be injured. I don't want to anymore. I mean, that was a big problem. A big reason why I drank. I never really got addicted to pain pills or anything. I would just drink the pain away. So I stopped drinking. I stopped jumping dirt bikes. I stopped chasing women. I'm just like being an old man and just like doing my hobbies and working on bikes. I got a couple old cars I'm chopping tops on and refurbishing. So I'm just kind of cruising. I'm down to go for some trail rides and go rip some turns in the dunes, but I'm not really trying to jump anything at this point.
Well, it just shows you still how famous you are all around the world. These get to go out all over, and all the guys remember everything about what you did. So that's super cool. To the legend of Seth Enslow for sure.
For sure, man. It's been great traveling the world and getting to ride in all these countries and having people that recognize or have seen the videos and appreciate that entertainment that we gave so many households or garages or wherever the viewing was.
Yeah, so cool. Just before you go, there's something that just popped in my head. I forgot to ask you. Did you have any superstitions, Seth? With all this crazy jumping, there's got to have been some praying going on. What sort of superstitions did you have going on at all? Did you have any at all?
No superstitions. No, not really. The one thing that we don't do is say one more or last run from snowboarding. Okay. You never say do one more or like let's do one more session at the track at practice day. Let's go out one more time. You just don't say that because that's when somebody ends up getting hurt. You just say, yeah, let's keep riding for a little while, knowing in the back of your mind that it's your last run. You just don't verbally say it. So that was
so that's a little bit of superstition. Yeah. I like that.
Besides that, man, my mom, I mean, I was raised on the good book. My mom is a devout Christian and she prays a lot. So I think that she definitely kept some guardian angels watching over me during my career because there was a lot of close calls and a lot of times I could have been very badly injured or even killed. So
Yeah.
Thanks for mom's prayers. I think that kind of kept me a bit more fearless. I just wasn't really concerned or worried about consequences. I just was chasing the dream.
Unbelievable. Who was your parents? Because who was the biggest influence on you doing everything in general? Who was the biggest influence?
Well, I have no influence for motorcycles really
Yeah.
in my family. I mean, I had a couple uncles. My mom's brother had a motorcycle when I was young, a little bit. He didn't really ride it much, but he had one. And then my mom's sister married a guy who had like an enduro motorcycle. And I remember looking at their bikes and just being really, real small and young and telling my one uncle, I'll never have a motorcycle. I'll never have enough money to have a motorcycle. Just kind of like feeling depressed about the whole thing. But I was so young and little. I just knew we were poor, and I just didn't think it. You know, when you're a kid, you don't think tomorrow's ever going to come. You know,
No,
there's
no,
no
no.
patience at all. So I
Yeah.
don't in the towel on having a motorcycle when I was like 7, because other had one and I didn't. So I'm like, that's never going to happen. But besides that, no, it was just kind of just my dream, just with bicycles and having friends that had motorcycles, just kind of always dreaming of one day having the money to have my own motorcycle. And my dad wasn't around. My mom moved us to Pennsylvania, 5 kids, when I was about 12. And that's where I got my 3-wheeler and started working on the farms and all that. And she moved away from my dad, who was 6 hours north, still in New York State. So he wasn't really a part of my teenage years or any of our lives growing up. When I was really young, he taught me how to play ice hockey when I was little. But then him and my mom got on rough waters and they split up. My mom didn't want to be around him, so she moved us kids far away, and we never really saw the guy. So he didn't play a huge role, but my grandpa, my mom's dad, and my mom's brother, my uncle, they had a huge part of growing up, taught me how to shoot guns and fish. And my grandpa had a whole garage full of tools and he could fix anything. He worked at General Motors building cars for his job, but he'd come home and put additions on the bathroom and chop wood and carve trails through the woods in the back 40. And he was just nonstop. Everybody called him a workaholic, but I thought champion. He was my hero. My grandpa was the man. And I used to stand in his garage and look around at all his tools and his toolboxes and just be like, someday I'm going to have tools like this. Cause I just admired him so much. The fact that he could fix anything. He was my hero, my MacGyver.
That's super cool. Craig's just saying, is there any chance of you ever coming over to the UK?
Sure, man. Yeah, I'd love to. We came over there years ago on one of our trips. I actually came over and did stunts for a street bike movie and stayed in Luxembourg for a bit. But we came over to England and rode Brands Hatch and did some of the Brands Hatch. And I had to crash a couple of Aprilia 252 strokes off the side of the track for doing the stunts in this movie. That was pretty cool. And we ended up taking the English Channel. We put the bikes in the truck on the train and took that back across underneath the English Channel. That was cool. But yeah, man, I mean, it'd just be a matter of lining up some work for me to come over there. If there's some way to round up some cash to cover expenses and a little bit for my time, I'd be there, man.
Ooh, it's giving me ideas now. Because we've run our 4th reunion event now and it's got some cool things that we do. So yeah, that could be something very cool to do.
Well, yeah, I'm a free man. I'm single. My daughter's grown up. She's 23 now. I mean, I got pets, but I got buddies that could feed them. I still go to Australia for a month at a time here and there. I went last year for a month and tattooed. And my house got handled. So the pets got fed and everything's good. So I'd be definitely down to come over anytime.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do something with that. We'll keep in touch anyway, and we'll keep in touch. And I'd love to do something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
Got to speak to some serious legends on here doing the motocross and speedway stuff and that, Seth. But I must admit, I was super chuffed to get to speak to you. I was like, holy shit, like Seth Enslow. I was telling all my mates, and they were like, no way. I was like, yeah, it's mental, unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks for having me. It's a good time.
Yeah, absolute proper legend, Seth. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good rest of your weekend, and much love to you, mate. We'll keep in touch. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Much love. Cheers, mate. Bye. Yes, man. That's mental. Oh my God. When I was sat there in the 90s watching Seth Enslow on Crusty Demons, did I think I'd ever speak to him? That is madness. Yeah. Tattoos all round. Let's start whipping the money up. We need to do auctions to get some money together, get the flights paid for. It sounds like Seth's well up for it as well. Pay his travel expenses, bit of a cheeky fees to come over. Get Seth doing tattoos. Imagine getting your first ever tattoo done by Seth Enslow. That would go down in history, wouldn't it? Yeah, 100% mine. So cool. Nuts. He literally said, I was like, pretty much wasn't scared of anything, was he? I got that on the grapevine pretty quickly. He was literally just like, get in the zone. He just like balls out. Oh, that was mint. Oh, classic. Unreal. Amazing. I'll keep in touch with Seth, and Craig speaks to Seth as well. And I'll just show you this as well that Seth did to us. What a legend. Imagine getting him at a reunion as well.
Hey, all you moto heads, Seth Enslow here. Contact Lee Ashby as soon as possible to get booked into the reunion number 4 at Monster Mountain, April 27th and 28th. You heard.
You heard, dude. How cool is that, man? So cool, isn't he? So Mr. Max Anstey's flying in the AMA Supercross as well. Good man, representing Team UK.
Hey guys, Max Anstey here. Make sure you contact Lee Ashby ASAP to get booked in for his next reunion, Reunion 4, on the 27th and 28th of April at Monster Mountain.
Hi guys, Peter Monet here. Remember to contact Lee Ashby for the 4th reunion of the MX and Speedway Memories. It's going to be held the 27th and 28th of April on Monster Mountain. Have fun, guys.
Hi everyone, this is Rob Andrews, and as you probably see, I'm at Anaheim for the Supercross. But the race that I'm really looking forward to this year is the BSMA Reunion number 4 on April 27th and 28th. That's taking place at Monster Mountain in Wales, and it's going to be epic. I had a really good time last year when I went to the 3rd reunion. We had such a laugh all weekend. There were so many friends there from when I raced back in the day, and we also got to ride a little bit because they had some Legend sessions. So don't miss it this year, April 27th, 28th. Get booked in with Lee Ashby for the Reunion 4, Monster Mountain. Do it now.
Yeah, do it now, baby. Thank you, Mr. Rob Andrews. So many legends on there. I won't play the Speedway ones because I think I've got mainly Macross guys on here. But yeah, so we'll, as I said, I'm speaking to Jean-Michel Bale at the moment, and I also got a message today. I messaged him ages ago, actually, and he just randomly come back today out of nowhere. I spoke to Ryan Hughes today on WhatsApp, and he said, "What do you want to do? When do you want to do the interview?" So that'd be cool to get Rhino on. And I've also spoke to Jean-Michel Bale, and so I'm hoping to sort that out soon. Look, I'll just show you that he did get back to me. Jean-Michel Bale. Did I think I'd ever get a Merry Christmas off Jean-Michel Bale, eh? We plan in January. We're in February now, JMB. Don't let me down. Second bleu. So hopefully I'm going to get Mr. Jean-Michel Bale on. So that would be a stunner. Who else have I talking to? Too many to mention. Who else have I been talking to? I've been chasing so many. Can't keep up with it. I'm doing 2 Speedway ones Tuesday and Wednesday next week. British champion Neil Everts on Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. Wednesday, Steve Bishop, 8 p.m. UK time. Sort out doing like I said, a live auction again soon of motocross and Speedway memorabilia. A lot of my stuff's being wasted, to be fair, where it's put away and I can't get anything out anywhere. So this is killing me on that. Yes, 100%. How sick will that be, Mr. Gav Richmond? Us boys racing at Morden Motocross Schoolboys Scramble Club, see? Then one day I get to speak to that. Imagine. It's absolutely mental. Oh, you can imagine me. I nearly wet myself when I got a reply off of Jean-Michel Bale. I originally emailed him, and then that's how I got his number. It's mental. And then he come back to me on a picture on email when I told the story of Jeff Stanton's interview about that he was pounding out the laps and JMB was just chilling out in the hills and carved JMB out on the mountainside with his back wheel, carved out JMB. Well, Stanton's training, isn't it? So, so when I told him about the story that me and Jeff had done on the email, he sent me the picture back of it with the JMB and the hillside. So I kept that obviously picture that he sent me, and I'm going to use that obviously on the interview and have a chat about that on the interview as well. But yeah, I was talking to Rhino the other day, as I just said. Well, that was today. Who else have I been speaking to? Fingers crossed we can get Dave Watson back to the reunion as well. We're speaking to him. Still trying to get Craig Crackney on the live as well. I'm going to be doing Calvin Tatum part 2 again soon as well. I did speak to Johan Boonen. Also spoke to Kees van der Ven. Who else did I speak to? I did speak to Roger Da Costa. I think we do something. Yeah, look. I would think you'd be speaking to these guys on WhatsApp. Look. Roger Da Costa. Maybe later on day when it settles down as things, I just have too much going on at the moment, Roger. Look, he's flat out in the middle of the season, so it's always a bad one. I've been chasing Damon Bradshaw as well because I've got his number. Been trying to get hold of him for a while, and I'm also chasing Jeremy McGrath. So this was cool as well. Look, off Bob Moore, American legend. Look, it was at 1995. He won the 125 World Championship. That was super cool. Bob was out with his buddies, doing a bit of enduro, bit of trail riding. But hey guys, Bob Moore here. Make sure you contact me and get your tickets to Monster Mountain. Have a great week. Legendary Bob Moore. So hopefully I've been speaking to so many, so it'd be awesome if I could get JMB. Been trying to sort out Ricky Carmichael as well. I've actually got the number of Steve Lampson now, so I spoke to him not long ago and we're talking about doing something. And also I've got the number of Grant Langston now as well, so he said he's going to do one as well, so it's just a matter of nailing down a date. So Grant Langston, that's on the cards as well. So that's really cool. So I should keep you guys updated with everything I do. Yeah. Much love to you. Thanks for coming on. As I always say from my old man, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Thanks for coming on, Seth Enslow. Off the checklist. Awesome.